Joining me now, Democratic Congresswoman from California, Sydney Kamlager-Dove. Welcome. It's good to see you again. Look, the president raising $30 million for his campaign last night. But how much influence does Hollywood really have on voters now? I mean, they may bring in the money. Do they bring in the votes? Does it translate to that?
I think it does. I was sorry that I wasn't able to be there last night, but I didn't want to outshine him, although I was in Philadelphia with him for the launch of his Black voter campaign. I think it is great to have him here in Los Angeles. It's a city of innovation, perseverance, hope. It is also a huge economic driver for the country. I mean, we are the epicenter of entertainment. And to have him here to energize and remind Democrats that we are the greatest force in telling the story about what's at stake, what's at risk, and what is worth saving in this election. And why not have a little star power help with that?
Well, you probably would have shown him up, given some glamorous gown. I know the way you can do that. Let me ask you, though, about social media influencers. Do they have more clout with voters than Hollywood celebrities right now in terms of the voting demo that the Democrats want to target? Is there a risk the Biden campaign misses that segment of voters?
I don't think so. I mean, Biden is on TikTok. Dark Brandon's probably on TikTok, too. I think it's important to talk to all of your voters, right? All of the constituents that represent our districts and that live across this country. Stars is incredibly important. So are influencers. I certainly believe that we have an oversaturated market with so many folks, looking to social media and being on their phones and devices to get news. But if that's where voters are, we have to meet them wherever they are and tell them the truth about what President Biden and Vice President Harris have done to keep us safe and protect our rights.
So Donald Trump, for his part, he returned near to Capitol Hill for the first time since the January 6th attack. He was embraced by Republicans, including those who condemned him following the riot. Senator Mitch McConnell says he shook hands with Trump multiple times. Do they have amnesia, as Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi has suggested? I mean, I'm curious your thoughts on your colleagues with the apparent about-face allegiance now to Donald Trump.
Amen, Alex. I think it's nauseating to see such slavish devotion to delusion. Here is the chief engineer behind the January 6th insurrection walking past Capitol Police and House floor employees who protect us and help us every single day and whose lives he put at risk. To go and talk to sycophant Republicans in the House and in the Senate in the only language he knows, quid pro quo. So he said, I'll help you if you help me. Look how that helped Michael Cohen, Rudy Giuliani, Herman Cain. But essentially, he went to Republican congresspeople and said, hey, take out DOJ. Under-resourced Homeland Security, unravel environmental protections, defund the government, put up bills that hurt our veterans, our women, confuse the American people on reproductive rights. Don't talk about how good the economy is going, condescend Africa, and I will endorse you. And what does, Speaker Johnson do? He comes out and says, hey, we talked to, presidential candidate Donald Trump, and we're going to drink that bleach again.
Yeah, putting it like that, it's stunning. Donald Trump, as you know, was in Detroit yesterday trying to win over black voters as some polls show Biden's advantage with them somewhat waning. But then Congressman James Clyburn said in a podcast interview he thinks something is wrong with the polling. Take a listen.
Anybody who believes that Donald Trump will get 30% of the black male vote or 12% of the black female vote, I got a bridge down there on Johns Island, and I'll sell you.
So look, as we know, the black voting bloc is not a monolith. But is it a false narrative that some portion of black voters are somehow leaning Trump? And if it is, who can help shift this message for President Biden's campaign?
Well, as you know, I trust, voters, not the polls. And I think that black voters have been historically very quiet. We've kept our cards close to the vest when it comes to who we're going to Obama, and we came out in droves. Because of Trump, over half of Black women live in states that have little or no abortion access. That also means they live in states where either they or their providers or partners can be criminalized. That is because of Trump, and Biden and Democrats are working to reverse that. Biden is the one who cut student debt. He's cutting medical debt. He's created an economy that has historically low unemployment numbers for Black Americans. He's the one that has a vice president who is a Black woman and put a Black woman on the Supreme Court. He's the one who has funded the Office of Civil Rights and DOJ. What has Trump done? Trump told Black folks, hey, kill your Nana. COVID isn't real. Trump stacked the courts with judges who are taking away Black folks' rights to vote. He's ignored Africa and allowed China to go in and exploit so many of our democratic allies on the continent. He has said white supremacists are fine people, and he's created a reality where you have vice presidential hopefuls telling Black people that Jim Crow was good for them. So we just have to continue to rewind the tape and show the receipts to Black voters to show the contrast between President Biden and Donald Trump.
Yeah. Congressman Clyburn also told Politico that he's going to skip Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's address to a joint session of Congress next month. He's considering, in fact, holding an alternative event to coincide with the speech. Then you had Rep. Ro Khanna just this morning saying he's going to skip it as well. You're a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Is it disrespectful to a U.S. ally not to attend? Does the ongoing war challenge that, if you think it is? And will you attend?
I mean, every representative needs to make the decision that's best for them, their heart, and their district. I will tell you, I am still in my feelings about how Congress, treated President Obama by inviting Prime Minister Netanyahu to speak before Congress. I think President Biden has been very gracious and patient and stern with Prime Minister Netanyahu, who at times has thumbed his nose at the president. I do think this invitation is rewarding bad behavior by the speaker to Netanyahu. I also think it's incredibly disingenuous that he disinvited the president of Kenya, who has been a strong ally to us, who is working with us with Haiti as an incredible democratic ally on the continent of Africa. So, I, too, am in my feelings about this invitation.
All right. Sydney Kamlager-Dove, Congresswoman, good to see you as always. Thank you so much. We'll have you back again soon.
You too.